What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Keep It Hoop YouTube channel. So, on Monday, we did a breakdown video of Jordan and one of his games against the Knicks in the playoffs. And that was in commemoration or just because it was hashtag MJ Mondays, which, for those of you that don't know, is just every Monday, certain social media pages, individuals, groups, whatever, post something about MJ just because it's Monday and MJ and all that, right? So, whether it's like shoes of or pictures of shoes, maybe a video or something about when he played, a story of his, a highlight, whatever. MJ Mondays is just a thing, and I just kind of went off of that. Didn't have any other video ideas, and I've always wanted to do a video breakdown of Jordan, so I did it on Monday. And on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I did some Kobe content. Again, something I always wanted to do. And Tuesday was a year to the day of Kobe's passing, so felt like it was the right time to do that. And today, to close it off, just wanted to do another MJ video. Thought it was good because of the relationship Kobe had with Jordan. And my friends and I this morning were actually talking about MJ, a little bit of The Last Dance, and just that generation in general. And I just felt like doing a Jordan video. So here I am. But this is a play. I'm just going to do a video on one play, and it's one move. It's a Jordan fadeaway shot against the Hornets. And I'm sure some of you guys have seen this clip, but it is in the middle of their second three-peat, and I wanted to do this because a lot of this week I've been focusing on Kobe and Jordan's attention to detail and how their perfection of the fundamentals and the little things have been a big part of why they were so dominant and unstoppable. And I kind of wanted to preach on that and just let everybody know and really just push that notion and idea of, before you go out and practice these crazy moves and, shooting from 35 feet, if you never master the fundamentals, you're going to be lacking as a complete basketball player, right? If you're building a pyramid and you don't have a stable base, you're just not going to have a very good pyramid. And it's the same thing in sports, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, tennis, whatever. And even outside of sports, whatever you're trying to do, you have to master the basics to really be able to go on to the advanced things. And, Jordan's fadeaway is a very good example of that because it looks difficult and it's not, certainly at the time and even today, it's not a shot that you want to take a lot. It's still somewhat frowned upon, but you can still do a lot with it. And it really is just the fadeaway itself is just a culmination of a few fundamental things that you should have in your arsenal to begin with. Now, I also thought it was interesting that, you think of the guys who took fadeaways back then, those guys like Charles Barkley, guys like Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird. It was usually bigger guys, right? And Jordan was known for a lot of things. It was dunking, it was the winning, it was that competitive fire, it was the shoes. But the fadeaway was something that he became known for as well. And ever since then, a lot of guys have implemented it into their game. Now, there are still bigs that shoot it today, Embiid, and before this generation, guys like KG and Tim Duncan to a lesser degree, and Dirk Nowitzki, right? But the fadeaway, I believe, has gotten more prevalent, and people have been able to kind of just add their own taste to it. Dirk has his, 1 foot, one leg out thing, the 1 foot fadeaway. KG just has a super high release, and he liked to do it from the middle of the key. And then you have guys like Kobe, who was more like Jordan and pretty much did it exactly like Jordan. Guys like LeBron, KD, Paul George, Kawhi, and they've added their own way of doing it as well. But yeah, I just wanted to break down his fadeaway shot, and yeah, we'll start off. So we're gonna start off here looking at right. David Wesley here, number 4, wants to help. You don't want to just leave Anthony Mason on an island and just leave him to guard Jordan. Well, Steve Kerr sees that and he goes away from him, goes to the 3-point line, and you can't leave Steve Kerr wide open. Now, ideally, if it wasn't Pippen and Kerr on the weak side, then maybe you can have Wesley come down here, and then you can ask your team, I believe that's Kendall Gill, to rotate, and you just deal with everything else as it comes, and you just rotate as a team. But all of you, right, Kukoc, Pippen, and Kerr are capable shooters, so it's hard to really help off of that. So Jordan here is backing down Anthony Mason, who's taller and also super strong, right? Jordan's very strong himself, but Anthony Mason, as you can see, right, isn't by any means a weak guy. Now, Jordan does a really good job of getting low, and getting low, regardless of your sport, is important. I'm sure you guys have heard lower man wins, and that's because the lower you are to the ground, the quicker you can be to reacting to things, you have more leverage and you're just more in balance. So I think when you watch a lot of fadeaway shots or just highlights or in real time, it's hard to realize just how low players can get. But he's way lower than Mason here. I know it's a little bit easier because he's shorter, but he's lower, and I know that uses up a lot of back, glute, quad, and core strength. But again, that's why you work those things out. He's able to get lower, and it helps him push Mason off. Again, Mason's bigger and arguably stronger, and he's definitely not weaker than Jordan. If anything, they're equal. But Mason's a very strong guy, and Jordan uses that leverage of being lower and his strength to push Mason back. Now, Mason has to, he takes a step back because of how forceful that initial move into Mason's chest is. And I think too many times basketball players, whether I think is more common today, but just in general, right? And especially guards or smaller players, they tend to shy away from the contact. Now, I get it. It's very common to you see a guy defending you or trying to come block your shot to avoid that guy. It's just natural instinct. But you look at a lot of guys, even especially, right? Especially when you're going up against bigger players. And I talked about this in my Isaiah Thomas video, but the smaller you are and the bigger the guy you're going up against is, I actually think it's more important to initiate the contact. And that doesn't mean go in, trying to draw a charge and flopping, but really taking the initiative to bring the physicality to them, because while they're bigger and somewhat stronger, they're humans like you. And if you're a player just trying to defend someone or going to block someone and they initiate the contact to you, very easy to get off balance. And if you're trying to block a shot, the more the freer you are in terms of just space, timing, and the physicality, the easier it is to block a shot. But if you're able to go ahead and initiate the contact, it's just another element you have to account for. So Jordan does a nice job of backing down Anthony Mason right here. Again, using the fact that he was lower and his strength. And it's still impressive because, again, Mason's very strong. And the fact that he has to kind of stutter and take a step shows just how effective it is. And then Jordan has a tiny shimmy, and he calls it the wind wiper move, where he fakes over one shoulder and goes the other. This time he's going over the right. He's faking over the right and then going back left. But this split second, right, you see Mason has to back up a tiny bit. And for an elite player like Jordan, that split second is enough to create the amount of space he needs to get a clean look at the basket. So again, staying low pushes him back, shimmy over one shoulder, and Mason does a nice job of contesting the shot. He actually does a short two-step or a little hop to get himself back on balance, right? So he ends up contesting, but I don't think people realize just how high Jordan's release is and how high he gets. Now, this is, again, in his second three-peat run, and he's already a declining athlete. And declining athlete for Jordan doesn't mean as much because he's still an elite athlete at this point, even compared to all the NBA players, because you can see how much airtime he gets. But again, just that small amount of time that he bought for himself with that tiny move is enough for him because of his high release point and the amount of verticality he gets on his jump shot. And although Anthony Mason gets off a decent contest here, as Jordan's about to release it, he still gets a decent look at the rim. And when you're someone who's gotten off the shot thousands and thousands of times in the gym alone, practicing, at this point as a defense, and I've said this again in a lot of the other Jordan moves and Kobe stuff that I covered this week, but at his defense, you kind of just have to pray and hope because you've done everything you can at this point, and it's like you can't impact the shot anymore. And that's not to say like this is good defense, but this is also a shot that Jordan lives with. It doesn't have to be exclusive, right? It's not like every time that the defense plays good, the offense gets a bad shot, and it's not like every time that Jordan gets a shot that he wants that the defense was bad. I think this is a situation where Charlotte says, all right, we played decent defense, and this is a situation where Jordan says, all right, I got the shot that I wanted, that I know I can make. And then he ends up kicking his leg out, and I think that's another thing that is important. I know a lot of guys kick their feet out today, but more so it is in an attempt to draw the foul. And I think that's both dangerous for the offense and defense, and I think it's dumb. Drawing fouls with kicking your feet out wasn't really a thing back then, but I do think it is important to do so in the right way because when you're shooting a fadeaway shot, you need all the strength and power you can get and to be able to create as much space as you can. One, kicking the foot out can, right? Not always, but can create more space. And a guy like Dirk and Kevin Durant has shown that. But it's also just in terms of body balance. If your arms are going out and your legs are coming out as well, your body just is in more balance instead of your whole body being upright and then just your arms coming out. I think in my experience, I also find that it helps create more torque and strength through your glutes, your hips, and just your whole body. If you kick your legs out and you just get that extra strength to get off that shot, get it to the rim. So I thought it was important as well. And you see the follow through. You always want a good follow through. Everybody, a lot of the shooters say gooseneck, and you just want that clean follow through. And yeah, so that's kind of just the gist of it. It really is super impressive. I did want to point out one other thing, and this is actually something that Kobe talked about a lot and something he stressed a lot. You're gonna see as he's backing down and he's making the move to turn around and rise for his shot. I want you guys to notice right here that the ball is towards his outside hip. And I think this is something that I didn't even think about when I was in middle school and I was imitating Jordan and Kobe and I was trying to, practice my game. When I was trying to practice fadeaway shots, I didn't really think about this, but the importance of having the ball on your outside hip is huge. And Kobe stressed this a lot because if the ball is, instead of being here, towards the center of his body or even the inside hip, and I don't know why it would be there. It's kind of awkward. But if it's at the center of his body, then the defense has a way easier time going at the ball, whether it's for a strip, for a block, or just to make you uncomfortable or change your rhythm and your balance. So having that ball on the outside hip is very important because at this situation, if Anthony Mason wants to swipe at the ball, I mean, he's free to, but two things are going to happen. Anthony Mason is either going to foul Jordan or he's going to put himself in a very awkward off-balance position where Jordan can then take advantage of that. And if he sees that early enough, right, and if he doesn't draw the foul, then he can either reverse pivot to the outside and get an easier look. You can either shoot the jump shot or bank shot it off or just get probably Rodman a shot. So Anthony Mason, in this situation, if the ball's on the outside, he kind of has no choice but to play him straight up and not reach. And, maybe if this Anthony Mason was a smaller guy, maybe if it was David Wesley guarding him, then you can swipe up the ball. I remember when I was growing up, because I'm 5'7", and regardless of what level basketball you're playing in, after middle school, 5'7" is small. And even at 5, even when I was in middle school, I was tiny. But I've always been one of, if not the shortest players on the court. And as I was trying to work out and in my attempt and road to becoming a professional basketball player overseas, I learned that when you're a smaller guy, it's kind of at a certain point, it's almost pointless when you're guarding a bigger player, especially in the post, but a shooter, to try and block it straight up because it's so rare for you to block the shot. So a lot of times it's better for you to swipe at the ball when the ball is low and in their shooting pocket and before it goes up. Again, by the virtue of Jordan having the ball on the outside hip, it makes it harder. But if the defender was David Wesley right here guarding Jordan, then you can create a bit more of a case for, all right, maybe he can or should reach. But with Anthony Mason guarding him, he's not going to do that most likely. And it shows you the importance of having the ball on the outside. Now, you still have to get it into your normal shooting range or motion as best you can. And it is a shot that requires a lot of work because, again, it's going to be, right, the last 20 to 10% of the shot is going to be the same, right? The form, the follow through, the release. But the setup is different from a normal jump shot, whether it's one dribble pull up or a catch and shoot. And you want as many parts of your fadeaway to be the same as a normal shot. But there's just aspects of it that are going to be different because you're setting up a bit differently and you're fading away, right? The basis of the shot is just different. But again, you want as many things to be the same. But the amount of repetition is that you need to be able to perfect the shot is crazy. But again, it just shows you the amount of Jordan put into this fundamental. But yeah, that's it for today. Thanks again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We are, I think, 2 subs away from 100. So if you guys could subscribe, it'd mean a lot. And do follow us on our social media pages. Links will be in the description below. Hopefully, once we get to 100 subscribers, we can do maybe a little bit of a giveaway, or you guys can just let us know what you want us to cover. Any suggestions, feedbacks, or conversations you want to engage in on social media about basketball. We're looking forward to that as well. We are really just trying to ramp things up as we've continued to say and just take this to another level. But yeah, appreciate the support as always. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.